Do you guys want to have a conversation while that's happening?
I was okay. Wait, clear. Is he coming back?
Yeah, he's coming back.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's coming
okay.
back.
Uh,
Okay.
I
All right.
was turning everyone still getting out of my power armor probably quicker than he should.
Okay.
As he's getting out, he's like, "So, any ideas?" I was thinking because I'm thinking Ver's gotta be kind of at a loss right now of what to do. A man holds a goal that long for that hard, and suddenly it's gone. Might need some help.
He can clearly take care of himself. What were you thinking,
Oh,
though?
no, 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 no. I didn't mean help as in, like, needs people looking after him. Help with direction. Maybe he's got an idea of what he wants to do and where he wants to go, but it sounded to me like he had no clue what to do next. And
He
I know.
could stay with us.
Well, I
Lee
was.
gives a snort at that, a derisive snort, but doesn't say anything.
I was going to offer at the very least. I know of a group of people who are going to New Laszlo. Might be a good place to start for him.
Al would nod his head and he'd be like, "Look, out of anyone, I know what it's like to suddenly have your life goals change and how lost you can be. All I'm suggesting is, yeah, maybe we let him know there's options. Maybe go back to Laszlo. He's a fire sorcerer, right? Or something like that?"
Lee pipes up in a smart-ass way. He's a warlock. As you
Yeah.
can see, he's taking off his helmet to take another drink again.
And I look at Liam like, yeah, that doesn't mean much to me. I don't know what a warlock is.
Well, he is one, he just says, and he puts his helmet back on.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Maybe there'd be a place for him in the Endless Storytellers, if he would want that. I mean, obviously it'd be up to Zoe, but it's an option we can offer him, perhaps.
He might actually be able to do a gig with the Firebrand, perhaps.
He could sing with me.
Oh boy.
No, that could work.
I really do want to give him the option though of perhaps trying to get him into the Storytellers. And if he doesn't want to, that's fine.
That's that'd be mighty kind, and I think that he may appreciate it, but I'm not quite sure the storytellers are so ready to add more people.
Right. And I was like, quickly, no, I completely agree. But there's no reason why we can't tell him about it and make sure he understands. Basically, there's no reason why we can't introduce him to Zoe and take it from there. Let them take it from there. Obviously, we're not going to promise him a job or anything, but we can at least let him know that there's a path open. And maybe not the Endless Storytellers, maybe something else. My concern is that when and then Al would kind of look at Lee, changed my life circumstances. Before I met you guys, I wandered around not knowing what to do or where to go, and it was a horrible experience. I would rather he not have to go through the same thing.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Lee kind of takes a step away from the group and just leans against the ATV and just shrugs. All right. Well, with that, Vor does return, and he has a backpack with him, and he hands it over to Patrick, and he says, "Here you go. The original notes that you gave me, along with a few other tomes that I was able to accumulate in my life, are in that pack. Are you certain that is all you want? I don't have much else as far as resources that you folks might find necessary, but it's all yours if you want it."
I would like one more thing, if you wouldn't mind.
Name it?
A piece of knowledge. What was that large being that we just saw?
Vor gives a bit of a pause and says, I have spent most of my life dedicated to understanding and working with elemental beings from the plane of fire. But truly, if you're looking for a name for such a thing, I do not have one. It is not named, it is just exists. Whether it is simply a larger form of the elementals here that were with me, or something else, something greater. Perhaps, he says, if I were to guess, it might have been an essence, a fracture of the very concept or the very base element that is flame. It was truly a magnificent sight, though. I never thought I would see such a thing. That's another gift you gave to me.
A gift that we both can share.
He nods. And he goes over, actually, to Morin, and he gives his utmost thanks for her to spend this, to use her ability, to use her resources, to come all this way to help him. To which Morin just gives a very simple, I like to help all who are lost. I see their pain and I try to answer. And with that encoded reply, he kind of just gives another awkward nod. At the point, he tried to bring his hand out for a handshake or something, but she didn't respond, so he just awkwardly puts it back to his side and turns back to the more receptive of the group. He says, although he looks apologetically to Pam, although you cannot enter these woods themselves due to your certain physical nature, know that this place is not just a refuge now for those elementals. It is a refuge for you as well. I don't know how long I will be at this exact location, but know that you have gained a lifelong ally with me. To me.
Speaking...
In me.
Oh, go ahead.
There we go. No, I didn't grammatically say that correctly. So, a lifelong ally in me. All right, please continue.
Speaking of how long you're staying here, if you don't mind me asking, what are your plans?
He gives a long breath and exhale, and he simply says, well, truly, those new goals have not formed just yet. I was planning on meditating on it, but right now my heart says that what I have done here is good, and my time has not been wasted thanks to you. I think I might travel around and keep an eye out to assist any other beings that might be enslaved. In fact, many of my big brothers that were here, they came through a one-way summoning by other users of magic who wanted to use their abilities, either through fate, either through the summoners dying, or perhaps they themselves just being sadistic. They binded my big brothers here to this plane. The ones who drifted and found this place, they weren't the only ones. I will go down south towards what is called the Federation of Magic, where many spellcasters are known to assemble. And I will do my best to free my big brothers that are still enslaved. That is what my heart says, but before I do that, I must prepare and make a proper journey. If you ever head down in that direction and we cross paths again, you can call on me for anything.
Al would nod his head and say the same is true to you. If you ever cross paths with the Endless Storytellers, a band of traveling entertainers that we spend our days in, you feel free to say hi sometime.
I'll make sure to do that, Al. And he brings his hand out for a handshake to you.
Al shakes it.
All right. And one by one, he shakes the hand of everyone. He even goes up to Lee, who is leaning on the ATV itself, and Lee kind of gives a bit of a look of surprise, but obliges the fellow anyway in a handshake. By the way, do you all shake his hand in thanks?
Oh,
Or
yes.
do you have your own
Yeah.
reasons
Yeah.
not to? Yeah? Okay.
Milo shakes it vigorously.
Okay. In fact, it takes a while. You know, whenever you're shaking a hand for too long and the other person like is trying to pull away, but the handshake still's going on.
Yeah.
He pulls a few times to be like, okay, the shake's over, but he tolerates your enthusiasm, we'll just say. In fact, your enthusiasm is quite infectious, for he hasn't probably stopped smiling ever since that started. He almost seems giddy, which is very strange because when you met him and beforehand, he was very stoic, very businesslike, a very intense man. And now that there's this big pearly white smile on his face, it's almost like a completely different person. He simply says, if you require anything else, please let me know. Otherwise, I will bid you goodbye and good luck on the rest of your travels, friends. I'll never forget you. Never in a million years.
Patrick will be sniffling and teary-eyed.
Fair enough.
Aw.
Milo will go over and give Patrick a hug and ask, Did you fall and hurt your knee? Why are you crying?
Just I never thought he'll just kind of stagger for words for the rest of
It's
that.
okay. It's okay. Let it all out. Milo just pat him on the back, not really knowing why he's crying, but knowing the proper protocol for dealing with someone who's crying.
Patrick will be none the wiser and be sobbing his butt.
Oddly enough, Mila is the same way. She starts crying.
What? So his crying made you cry?
Yeah, she
Of
doesn't know.
course.
She's
thought this
empathetic.
might be a crying moment, so she's gonna cry with him,
So she wanted to
Okay.
fit in.
All
so
right.
he wasn't left out. Okay.
Fair enough. Morin simply looks at you two inquisitively with her head tilted slightly. Lee has a few of you might have noticed he kind of rolled his eyes and made his way towards the ATV to sit down. And Vor is just smiling, giving a reflective smile on the emotional impact of everything. Is there any other interactions you guys want, or should we continue on to the next scene, you think?
No, I think I'm good.
Good.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
We're gonna give a gentle bow, and we'll most likely depart on that.
Okay. All right. And as you depart, you make a good couple 100 feet before you can hear through the loudspeaker in Ver's power armor. He says, "Goodbye, friends of Flame. Thank you again." And with that, you
We'll
leave.
give 2 honks as a response.
Okay. All right. And with that, you the journey itself through the forest, through the valleys, back towards the cliff itself, is uneventful in regards to anything negative happening to you. I was gonna say, it's probably around 4 o'clock in the afternoon by the time all this is resolved and you are back at the cliff face. And sure enough, Lee kind of gets out of the ATV when you park, and he opens up the door to guide Morin out, and he looks like an individual who's like, you're on the last stretch home, and he just wants to kind of get it over with. And he kind of ferries her, guides her over to where she was standing before in a very, not necessarily a demeaning way. And he's not really tugging her or anything like that, but more of a like, okay, come on. It's just over here, this way. Yep, just 10 steps ahead of you. All right, there you go. Okay, Morin, send us back home. And with that, she stands and she stares at the Nexus point again as it ripples and surges. And he gives a bit of a sigh and he kind of walks away and he goes down the cliff face and it says, oh, might as well get comfortable. Princess there takes a little while to warm up, if you know what I mean, as he gets down towards one of the rocks that are probably a good 100 feet or so away from where she is. And he sits down on it and takes off his helmet. And he starts to look for his flask again. So, after about 10 minutes or so, as Morin simply stands there like a statue, staring into it, once again, you see her hands arise. And her eyes light up. Her palms start to radiate energy. This time, however, it's not a bright yellow light. This one is actually a dark purple, a wispy thing that's coming from her hands. And the single tear in the fabric of time and space starts again. However, it's slightly different. Normally, the rift itself opens right at the Nexus point itself and heads skywards. However, what's opening up seems to be a little higher than usual. The actual rift itself opens up a good 20 feet above the ground. Perhaps it's just a misalignment on Morin's part, but she doesn't seem to be, stopping or correcting it. The rift itself starts to open up, and before it opens to its completion, you hear Morin say, through her body armor, through the speaker on there, she says, "More voices are crying out. Help them too." And with that, Lee kind of stands up from where he is, and he takes a look towards the rift that she's opening. And the portal that starts to shimmer, at first, it's just a cloudy, purpley haze that's clouding this actual
May
rift
I
itself.
do
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right. While this is all happening, Patrick is going to scramble out of his chair and going to be yelling, "Close it."
Morin doesn't answer.
All right.
Morin, she does not comply at all. And Lee is starting to look a little panicked as well. Can I continue?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh boy.
So, it's a purple haze that clouds around the actual opening of the rift. And the rift itself this time is only about 20 feet in diameter, and it's higher into the sky. And as you peer through it, you see a landscape, a foreign landscape, an alien landscape of... It's clearly night there, or very, very dim, because just a deep blue is kind of piercing through everything. But through the shadowy blue color, you see these towers that are stretching far beyond, these weird stacks that are randomly put. You don't know how tall these towers are, but based on what you can see, they must be quite massive and quite tall. 50, 60, 70, 100 feet rising up into the sky. And then you realize they're not towers, they're hills. They're strangely shaped, circular hills with little tiny holes poking out of them, like the nest of some great ant or wasp. And then your vision clears enough to actually see a stream of insectoid-like creatures. They are humanoids. They have legs and they have forearms, a black shimmering chitinous plate, large mandibles, very light wasp-like wings, and they're clustering towards a group. And at this point, Patrick's screams to close the gates are echoed by Lee, whose eyes are bugged out, and he screams, "Oh shit! Zytikix! Close the gate! Close it! Close the rift!" as he starts running towards Morin as well. I'll give you all a moment to act before I continue explaining what's happening to the scene.
Mine's written down there.
Have a quick question
Mila's booking it.
to verify. You said there's a group that's being closed in on by these things?
No.
Oh, they're
No,
just
no,
coming
no.
towards us.
They're
There
just
is a
coming
group
towards
of
you.
them.
A group of them.
them.
Okay, okay. I would. Okay.
By the way,
Mhm.
just for note, once Patrick finds out that it is bug people, he's going to actually stop shouting to close it. And then once Lee actually starts getting really upset and shouting and saying names and saying to close it, he's going to get back to his worried close it.
Oh,
state.
bug people.
It was the thing was I just remembered this particular portal had a giant demon that crushed the head of the other person, so I was assuming that was that place.
No.
Okay.
Al would probably, because Morin's still there in front of it, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep, she's right there.
Okay, Al would probably try to get between. Well, here's a question: does it look like there's energy between her and the rift? Like if I got in between them, it would disrupt something. Does it look? I know
No.
nothing about rifts.
No, there's no energy between her and the rift itself. The only problem is distance. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what I'm going to do is that we're all going to roll initiative, and we're going to determine how much you can do, because this isn't necessarily combat just yet. You don't know if these things are hostile, but people are screaming to close the gate, and you all have actions you want to do, right? You're all being spurred into action. And I think with this tense moment, it's necessary to put things down into 5-second chunks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I am going to move us over to a map I didn't kind of make. I took a very small portion of the map and then I expanded it through photo dealings. So I'm going to drag you over here, and I'm going to get out your icons. First, I'm going to move Morin to where she is. And I'm going to move Lee to where he is, which is on that stone. He got up and started screaming, so maybe he's there, tops. Can everyone see this map?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Sweet. Let me just drag your butts on over.
So the portal is on, is above us or below us?
It is above you.
Okay.
It is 20 feet above you.
Got it.
There's Al. Oh, wait, Alicia's not here. There's
She
Mila.
won't get to use her pretty new rifle.
Not yet. Mila, Pam. Oh, you're perfect size, Pam.
Woohoo!
That's my perfect size cheer. Whenever someone says that, I go woohoo. And Thomas. Now, I'm going to say, for the sake of everything, that Morn would be given some space. You wouldn't all be crowded right around her like, "Hey, Morn, how's it going? My name's Tom. Can I smell your hair a little bit?" He's
Hey,
gonna...
hey. Tom's not that creepy.
I
Come on.
know, I'm teasing. You were just the icon that I had, so I could be like, "Hey, I'm
Alice.
Mila.
Oh.
Can I hump your leg?" All right. Anyway, so we're gonna say, we're gonna make you guys set up anywhere, I don't know, in this area.
Okay.
Let's see.
So like our initial point.
ATV.
Yeah, your
It's
initial
all starting.
point.
I think probably Mila's pretty curious. She'd probably stick behind Al, but be watching.
He would probably be. See, there's an ATV. This is a bush, so more of a straight line. So he'd be over here. He would probably be somewhere around the yay position.
Oh, Inferno?
Mhm.
This would be important to actually clarify before combat and everything starts. So my Samson armor
Yeah.
has four mini missiles, and
Yep.
it
You
doesn't.
should probably clarify what's in them first.
Yeah, it does say that the normal payload is armor piercing or plasma. So I was hoping just a fair default would be just 2 of each of those.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, because I figure if that's the default, I never actually stated, so let's just go default.
Yep. Okie dokie. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you all a chance because these critters, these Zytikik, as Lee identified them, they're heading towards the rift itself. Okay. So I'm going to give you all an action to do something first before we roll for initiative. You know, I mean, like, I know you're asking questions or whatnot, but I realize that we should have a point here, right? So I'm saving you guys have about 5 seconds to do something. So we'll just go from top. I'll just decide from the top. So Lee is running there. Well, he's running, so he's going a little bit faster. He's gained speed. So let's start with Tom. I'll go left to right here. So Tom, what are you going to do in your 5 seconds?
I'm just gonna stare amazed at the portal on my motorcycle, trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Cool. All right. Wonderful. Patrick.
He will most likely be still just standing there and shouting to close the portal.
Okay. I'm also. There's your ATV, by the way. I'm going to give you all control of it for the sake of simplicity, but it's a vehicle here. So, Patrick or whomever, feel free. I got to just say all players here, save changes. Feel free to move that wherever you want, wherever you would have parked it, if you think. All right?
Yep.
Let's see here. I'm also going to get an icon here for your bike too, Tom.
Cool.
In the meantime, the next is Pamel. What are you going to be doing in these 5 seconds?
I think she's gonna look really panicked, and then can she use empathy to figure out what they want?
Let's see here. We have to check the range on empathy, actually.
It says 100 feet, so I don't know if that's
Ooh,
close.
100 feet. Okay, so let's see here. Oh dear, 100 feet doesn't actually get you into the rift, unfortunately. It's
Dang, all right.
130 feet away, so
Never mind.
it's okay. Of course, you do have the speed. Your bike, if we look, I've made some additions to the group Rift's group loot list, which I don't know if you actually have, Pam. Do you have a link to this?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm gonna link it to you. Here, I'll just put in the group. And under that, I have the speed. So you have a speed value of 44 feet per second. So you can actually, that's like your cruise speed. You
Okay.
can move 44 and still do something. You can also move 88. You know, I mean, like it's, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can move. You're pretty mobile right now. So feel free to
All right.
move if you want to get closer to see if you have reach. But I'm going to just tell you right now, they're not like right at the tip of the rift itself. They haven't broken through the threshold. They're just flying towards it. Maybe they're about 40-ish feet into the portal. It's hard to tell because it's mystical and swirling around, right? So
All right. I don't think she would go any closer to it anyways.
yeah, probably a
this
good
point.
call. Probably a good call. All right. Did you want to do anything else then, or just stay where she is?
She might take cover behind the tree a little bit.
Okay. If you're worried about cover as well, you could also activate the little telekinetic force field on your wheelchair.
Ooh, then yes.
Okay, so burn 20 ISP, and now you have
All right.
100 mega damage.
All right, sweet. Thank you.
And just as a friendly reminder, as long as you have 20 ISP, you can always put up the force fields again, right? So
Okay.
if you're like down to like, I don't know, like 5 MDC or something like that left on the shield, put another 20 ISB, and then it's right back up to 100 again.
Okay.
Okay.
And how many mega damage? 100?
100. A
Okay, thank
nice, even, fun 100.
Perfect.
Okay. It's going to be quite a bummer if this doesn't turn out to be a fight, but I have to allow this to play out naturally. Mila.
These are going to be the most intelligent insects we've ever faced. They're going to be like, oh, hello. No, Mila's going to be just running away.
Okay.
So I
So
don't
now
think
let's look at your Power Ranger armor and look at
Yeah.
its speed value.
I was
Let's-
just scrolling down to it.
Let's see
I think I
here.
have a
Mila's
separate
items.
file for that.
Let's
that you
see
gave me a while
here.
ago.
Speed. Running. I'm assuming you're running, really, is what you're doing, unless
Mm-hmm.
you're leaping.
I think it'd probably be more running.
Okay, so running, you can go up to 40 miles per hour. I'm surprised I didn't put in a speed value here, but I can do that conversion really, really easily. So just give me a moment here, guys. I guess this is kind of breaking the immersion a little bit, but that's
Yeah,
fine.
you're fine.
We got to figure out what our speed is, and then we'll know forever. So it's 40 miles per hour. So if I times it by 5280 and then divide it by 3600, your speed number is actually 59. We'll make it a nice even 60, actually. So you can move 60 feet per second.